Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, as the title clearly states, we're going to be looking at Makeup by Mario. Now, hear me out. So I know that I said that I was on a no-buy.
You lied to me?
After the massive haul that I did, which you can take a look at if you haven't seen it yet. It's pretty amazing. I enjoyed opening that stuff up very much. But I know that I said that I wasn't gonna buy anything else, but so Teresa's Dead is another creator, and she recently did a review on Makeup by Mario. And the majority of the collection when it first came out and I saw it, I'll throw a picture up here, the majority of it just looked very meh to me. Like there was nothing really that stood out. The packaging is fairly basic. Sorry. And so I was just not overly impressed with it, and I just really had no desire to buy it whatsoever. But then Teresa's Dead did her review, and thanks, Teresa. This is 100% your fault that I am doing this video and that I bought these products. So essentially in her video, she had picked up from the Makeup by Mario, which, see what I mean with like, it's just white plastic with like a little bit of text, very similar to like how Scott Barnes has like his name down at the bottom of his packaging, and it's literally just that, and then the names of the different colors on the back. And then when you open it up, I picked up the super duper metallic-y one that they have, and you might be wondering what all this excess space is down here. Well, it comes with this pretty fancy spatula, and you're supposed to scrape the pigment down into this little divot that is down here, and then use this product with it to mix it all together to essentially turn it into like a liquid chrome and then apply it to your eyes, which is a whole lot of work, it seems like to me, when you could just create liquid eyeshadows. There's plenty of other people that do it. Stila has a shit ton. I think Dominique Cosmetics has a bunch. Like there's plenty of other places that you can go if you're just wanting liquid eyeshadow. But the reason why I did end up picking this up is because, let me tell you, the level of pigment and shine that Teresa was able to get when she like threw it on her face was just amazing. Like it looked so good. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. The primary thing that I'm not a fan of is that I have to do any kind of chemical concocting of a thing.
It's science.
And you have to have this, which is the Master Metal Manipulator. So it is a mixing liquid. It comes in this tiny little tube. You have to somehow know how much of this to mix in with the shadows. So I would imagine that there's going to be just a poop ton of trial and error while I'm doing this, but we're gonna try. And so I thought that I would do several different types of swatches for you guys. I figure that first I would just do swatches of the pigments themselves before you put anything in with it. So there are 5 shades that we have here, kind of a bluish and then a goldish yellow, coppery orange. Then this guy is more of like a peachy kind of shade, and then you're like strawberry-ish pink. So let's go ahead and swatch them dry. So this is the first, the blue, which is kind of almost tinny in shape. That there's definitely like a bit of a grayish undertone on there. Okay. It's not terrible. It's definitely very shimmery, gives off a bit of a sheer type vibe as of right now, but still not bad for, you know, just one little swipey into the tin. The next up is the yellow, also very nice and pigmented. And there's that one, also not bad. I will say that that one is less sheer looking on my arm than the kind of silverish blue one, so it is a bit stronger of a shade, I guess. And then let's go into the orange one. It looks like this guy. I like showing my fingers. I love when creators do that, when they're like swatching and they show you their finger before they put it on their arm. Anyway, that's something fun I like to see. All right, So this is this guy. Not terrible on its own. And then I'm gonna clean these guys off before I do the other two, because I find that my pinky, it's not my strong finger. And so I don't want to potentially mess up the swatch and give you guys a false read on there. And so I'm gonna wipe this off real quick and then we'll come back for the last two shades. Okay, so the next one up is that kind of peachy type shade. This one's definitely a little bit lighter than that orange one was. And yet somehow it looks darker. So on my arm, it gives more of a bit of a brownish look to it, more so than it did in the tin. In the tin, it definitely looked, tell me, does this right here not look lighter than the orange one? And yet somehow on my arm, it is looking more brown. Go figure. All right, and then the last one is that kind of pinkish strawberry shade. This guy, it's kind of pretty. And there you go. So this is all 5 shades. You can see very nice shine to them. Not bad at all already just for the start. So I am moderately intrigued as to how this is gonna go with this mixing thing. I will say that the one nice feature about this, because I'm just gonna wreck this tin thing down here, this little divot, they do have a little tab on the side where you can, please don't break it. Not super easy to remove, but you can pop it out to clean it. So just thought I would throw that one out there. Now which way does, okay. This is what we come here for, guys, to see me struggle. Since I'm doing great at figuring this kind of crap out. I am also someone that definitely just tends to brute force their way through things, and so the fact that I didn't break that on the first go, don't pretty good. So before I start mixing the things together, I'm gonna leave these swatches up just so that we'll have a comparison as we go into the swatches with everything mixed together. But I do want to put on somewhat of a face of makeup so that we can go directly into like an eye look after I've done the swatches. Okay, so I'm back. I have my face on. Swatches have survived. The two things that I used that were newer products that I thought I would share real quick, I used the Smashbox Halo Tinted Moisturizer for the face, and I'm really getting into tinted moisturizers being out here in Arizona, just because they help me to not get super duper dry, and they also, all they really do is just even out my skin tone, because I have some red splotches, and especially now that I'm like out in the sun more, starting to get a bit of a tan, but it looks like not quite right because I definitely have like weird spots that will get more sun than others. And so all that this did was just help to even out the entirety of the skin tone, and I think it looks real nice. So the other thing that I used was the Fenty Beauty Brow MVP. It's in this pretty little white case, and the thing that's ultra interesting on this is the brush is not a spoolie, it's just this weird little like bristly thing that you use to brush your brows. And then the top portion is just a pretty standard little pencil point at the very tip. There you go, sort of. It's like focusing on the veins of my hands more than it's focusing on the freaking brow product. I really like this. It went on real nice. It's a good shade for me, so no complaints on that whatsoever. And considering that it's like comparable in price to my other favorite from Anastasia Beverly Hills, I think that this is great. I also really hope that you guys can't hear the air conditioner. It's being super duper loud. I did turn the fan off. I really appreciate when you guys let me know, like if there's some kind of audio issue or anything like that, because sometimes when I'm editing, I will miss it just because I have the volume turned down pretty low. And so if there's like a subtle thing where you could only hear it if you have earbuds in, I'm not gonna notice. So I really appreciate any of those constructive criticism type things. Please, by all means, send them my way. I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys the best possible videos, which from me, I mean, the makeup's not going to be awesome, but we can at least attempt to have the audio be good. So hopefully today it is much better. Fingers crossed. Please let me know again. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the actual mixing of this cramp. We'll see how it goes. I wonder if I even need to shake this. There's like no instructions with this little tubey thing, so it's just kind of fly by the seat of your pants type deal, I guess, which really is all of my videos. I decided for the eye look that I was just gonna do like a fairly basic grayish type smoky eye, so it's just very lightly smoked out. And then I did a little bit of like a light blue underneath because I am planning to use this kind of silvery blue on top of the eye, and so I wanted to kind of have a complementary blue underneath. So I guess we're gonna take this, and I am attempting to do this on camera so you guys can sort of see what I'm doing, but I'm just going to scrapey. Rogue is panicking in the background. She's like, dear God, you're gonna ruin it all. So I'm just scraping some of this into here. So you can see now I've got a little bit in there, not a ton. Maybe do a little bit more because I have no idea how this is gonna go. I'm gonna scrape off the excess off of the thing. I already have a falco fur that I can see in there. Perfect. I love having dog fur on my eyeballs. I know, that's great. All right, and then I'm going to take, oh, okay, it's already dripping. 1, perhaps 2 drops. 2 drops, okay, that's all I'm doing. Okay, we're gonna mix it. We're gonna see what happens. Okay. I'm panicking. Panicking! Okay. So you can see it's pretty liquidy in there. Hopefully not too liquidy and I didn't mess it up. But I'm gonna grab my brush and we're gonna go for application on the eyes real quick. And then after that we will do swatches of each of them individually. But let's go ahead and dip our brush into this. Here we go. Okay. So this is kind of what it's looking like right now. It is decently pigmented for sure. I will, however, say that after you've added the liquidy drops in, the brush, if it's dry, will definitely soak up a lot of the liquid from the drops. And so you're left with like little kind of clumpies on here that are just the remnants of what I scraped in there. So there's a decent amount of eyeshadow crumbles that are left in there, and so I'm curious if I add another drop, if that'll rehydrate it a bit more to where I can kind of mix that together to create more of that liquid to put on the eye. Yeah, it does look like you can just keep adding more liquid to your liking, and so that's not bad at all. So the first swatch that I'm going to do with my brush on this arm is going to be, what am I doing here? The silverish blue. So there you go, there's that with the liquid compared to just dry. I think it is a bit brighter with the liquid, and I think on my eyes right now it looks, I can definitely see it in the camera, so I think that's really good. Let's go ahead and clean the brush off, and then we'll do the next shade, and then the next one, and then the next one, and continue through all of them. So moving on to the next swatch, we're gonna do the gold. So I am going to, and for these I'm not gonna I'm not gonna scrape as much. I'm not gonna scrape as much of the product, just because since I am just wanting to do this for swatching rather than for putting it on my eye, I don't think I need quite as much. Yeah, every time the brush seems to be picking up the liquid very quickly and then just leaving a little bit of the remnants of the powder. So this is the gold one. Right there. That is super pigmented. Put it up next to this guy. So I think that this liquid definitely just adds a smidge more of a boost to each of these shades because they're already on their own pretty darn nice. All right, so we're going in with the copper shade next. And I do also think that this is just like really gonna have the product go away quick with how much you have to like scrape it up, because I'm definitely not being exact on here. I will say, so it's very interesting. So the silver definitely had a silver base, This copper shade looks like it has a black base to it because it has a lot of depth to the shade just as I've scraped it into the pan. And so I think that's kind of interesting to see what the undertones of each of these shades are. And so I think this copper is going to look really interesting. Here we go with the copper. Okay. There you go. Comparatively, I think those are pretty even actually. All right, here we go with the next one. Oh geez. Get it together. Come on. 2 shades left. All right. Now we're gonna go into kind of the peachy shade. I do find it kind of amusing that my laziness has reached such a level to where it's just like, I'm gonna continue to call out the shades. The names are right on the back. Can't be bothered to say them. My editing self hopefully is saving me by tossing the names up as we go. I am using just 2 drops each time, although for this one, I think a 3rd might be necessary. It's kind of a little bit more of a goopy texture right now. Okay, here we go. No. Oh yeah, that is way more pigmented for sure. Yep. Just look at the brightness difference on there. That is super intense. Okay, and the final shade is going to be this pink shade at the end right here. Here we go. All right, it's a good chunk. I can definitively say so far that each of these shades has required a different number of drops to mix in. This pink one is being extra difficult. I have already put 5 drops in and it's just now reaching liquidy consistency. So you're definitely gonna have to play it by ear with these. They are all different with what they require. Go. Yep. Okay. So I think out of all of them, the one that I am the least impressed with is kind of that copper one in the middle. All of the other shades responded to using the manipulator very, very well. You can see the goop that is left in there, but now we can just pop it right out without getting everything everywhere. If you're better than me, at least, you will be able to accomplish that. I'm gonna do that later. But yeah, I think that's not bad. Let me go ahead and clean all this up real quick, and then I will be right back for a final thought. Okay, so my final thoughts on everything. Also, you'll notice it's a completely different shirt because yeah, I totally got stuff all over my other shirt as I was trying to clean everything out. Is anyone really surprised though? Like, come on now. And I did also change the lighting to like a ring light so you guys can still see me because the amount of time that it took to clean everything, because I'm an idiot, the sun had gone down and so the lighting was no longer adequate for you to see anything. But this is the final look. I did also throw on a little bit of like some tight lining of a blue liner. I think overall it turned out very, very nice. And I do think that the manipulator absolutely made a difference, so I can't say that it's not worth getting, but I think of the two, the palette 100% I would recommend, because even those swatches that were dry were very, very nice. And so even if you're just using your finger and packing it onto your eye dry, you're gonna get a really pretty look. But the manipulator definitely did some stuff, you know. But I'm still very curious as to whether or not you would get the same effect as the manipulator if you were using like a glitter glue or a setting spray on your brush. And so I'm gonna have to fiddle around with that just a little bit more just to see if there is actually like a need for the manipulator or not, but it's undeniable that there was a difference. And so I would recommend, if you like really nice chromy metallics, I can't deny that they're good, but I still think that the majority of the other things that were released in his collection are still super boring. Sorry if you didn't think so. I find that these days it takes a lot to wow me on a neutrally palette. And I know he also released a metallic palette, but it just looked like the metallic version of the neutral palette, so it was still a neutral palette. But these super metallic-y ones definitely look nice. But let me know if any of you guys have actually tested out any of the other stuff from the Makeup by Mario collection and you're thinking that I'm just completely stupid for not testing it out. Let me know what you thought of this look, of the swatches. You know, any thoughts at all? Toss them in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this, whatever this video was, give me a thumbs up, you know, help me to figure out how to do more makeup. But if you made it this far into the video and you have not clicked the subscribe button yet, I would highly suggest that you hit the subscribe button, because clearly I think you kind of like this stuff, you know, just tossing that out there. Either way, this was my first impression of the Makeup by Mario stuff, and again, thank you, Teresa is Dead, for making me buy it. Only moderately salty. But this was the video. Sorry, I don't know why this outro was taking so long. I'm just continuing to ramble. But yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe out there and just go have a good one.